Hello, Professor Shepard. I hope you got to enjoy this beautiful first weekend of fall. I am recording my activity for multicultural activity for early learners for a week 2 assignment. So for this activity, I thought I would do an activity geared towards kindergarteners or first graders. So the name of this activity would be My Family is Special Because. Kids would need paper, crayons, and a pencil. They would draw their families and they would be encouraged to pick a reason why their family is special. After they did that, they would share their drawings and their reasons with their classmates, and we would display their artwork in the classroom, making families part of our class, and also creating a little nook or space in our class where anxious or nervous children can feel like they can connect back to home in the classroom. So first, I love charts, I love lists. So I think I would present this activity through a chart. I would give students clear instructions on how they would do the activity and how the activity would go and what they would need to do and what they would need in order to do it. I think that anxiety is a big thing in our classes, in our classrooms recently. So I think specific steps would help kids reduce their anxiety. And anxiety has always been an issue before the pandemic in 2020, March of 2020, about 32% of kids under the age of 18 suffered from anxiety. So I think that we can assume that these numbers have only increased and not decreased. So being aware of kids who are anxious in our classroom is very important. And one way that we can help is making sure transitions are managed and making sure that there are clear expectations about transitions and about time management. So I would split up the activity and give kids a preview of the whole activity and what it would look like and how much time they would have to complete it, using a timer for each step. And I think a timer is a great tool. Students who feel anxious can sometimes feel rushed, and they are also perfectionists and feel frustrated if they're cut short before they can finish their work. So it not only helps anxious students, but it also helps every student know how to manage that time that they have left. If I only have a minute, I'm not going to go start drawing something elaborate. Maybe I'll just finish up some details and move on. So I think my first chart would look a little bit like this. What you would need for this activity, and pictures would help English learners. Pictures would help every student know exactly what to get to be prepared and be successful. So paper, crayons, and pencil is what you need. And then while modeling the activity, I would kind of split it up into 3 steps. The first step is to think about your family. Maybe put some questions on there to guide their thinking. Who's in your family? How many members of your family? How many pets do you have? Do you have any pets? What do you like to do with your family? And what's your favorite thing to do with your family? Um, and also allow them, tell them the amount of time that they would have to do that. After we have thought about our family, we can draw about them. So we make sure we include ourselves in our family. We think about, sizes and how big or small you are compared to your family. Add any details that you think is important. I think this really gets them thinking about that, that culture aspect of the activity, which is maybe different clothing that the family wears, or what their house looks like, or any decorations that are important to them that have a meaning to them in their house, or in a place where they like to go with their family. And always make sure to have fun while you're doing it and be creative. And then the third step would be to share your work with the class. So this really sets the expectation that at the end they will be talking in front of the group, they will be sharing their work, and I think this really reduces the amount of trying to share beforehand and keeping them focused on the task at hand, knowing that they will get a chance to share at the end. And it also creates that that expectation that if you're a little bit shy, that this public speaking or speaking in front of the class is coming, and it kind of helps the students prepare for it. um, I think that in order to make this activity successful for every type of learner, one thing that I would make sure to have is flexible seating options while they are completing the activities. I think lower tables, couches, rugs, wobbly chairs, all of these are great options, and having the kids be allowed to pick their own seating is very important. Flexible seating really gives students the option to control their physical environments and choose the ones that they work best in. Um, Students, when given choices, I feel like little ones really rarely get to decide, and I think they love to have that empowerment, and it's especially important when it comes to their education. I think right from the beginning, they need to feel empowered, like they get to make choices too. I get to know what is best for me. What do I, how do I learn best, and knowing themselves. That self-awareness is really important. So it really gives them the opportunity to control their environment, and doing that, I think, really reduces the amount of acting out or disruptive behavior that may occur in the classroom. Flexible seating options are also very important and beneficial for children with ADHD. In our textbook, we learned that these kids often, fidget with their hands and feet. They have a hard time sitting still or being on the go. Flexible seating options, getting kids out of their, set seats and desks, really provides kids with ADHD the best environment for them to be productive. They can sit near a role model, they can sit near a teacher, or they can sit, away from any unwanted distractions, which really improves their productivity. I would also provide flexible ways to show work, allowing kids to show their work in many different ways and to present their work in many different ways. So, knowing that some will have no problem getting up in front of the class and presenting their work, and that's great. But others may have a hard time. So, maybe scaffolding for these students who have a hard time by using sentence starters, or inquiring about what they drew, like what is this, or pointing and whatnot. And this can be specifically helpful for children with autism, for example, who may not be verbal or may have difficulty with expressive communication skills. So really scaffolding those sentence starters for them, where you may not have to do that for other children, but for accommodating those who have trouble expressing their ideas in verbal language. And also, they can really make sure to include that they can express their work and show their work without speaking, and they can point, and there are other ways to show their work as well. I think in this and in this way, we would also create an opportunity for students who maybe speak a different language to show their work that way, or maybe include some words in a different language. I think the class would love to hear something like that. Um, so I wanted to just make sure I touch base on how I think this activity really creates cultural awareness. I think it allows the students to get to know each other, and like we talked about in our discussion posts, the amount of diversity in our classrooms have increased drastically over the past couple decades. And I think it's important for kids to realize that everyone has different backgrounds and families, and that is okay, and that is great. I think activities like this really gets kids excited to share about how different they are and share about what's special about them. and it really creates a doorway to get kids with different cultures to be specific about their cultures and to be proud of their cultures and their families. It really emphasizes the fact that we are lucky to have a diverse classroom, and we can learn a lot from our classmates. And if everybody was the same, we really, wouldn't be um, learning from each other. So it creates that acceptance and that empathy um, with each other. And I think it's also really important because it creates cultural awareness for us, for the teachers. We get to know our student families. We may be we may be brought to the attention that, maybe there are children in our classrooms who don't have a mother role model um, or a father. So this really gets us thinking to be more sensitive during, for example, activities geared towards Mother's Day or Father's Day, and etc. Um, so I do think that most importantly, it's good to know that we need to be flexible. If an activity is not working, it's okay to shift gears and to just kind of let the kids lead the way. Um, and Yeah, I think that introducing giving them the opportunity to talk about themselves really increases cultural awareness in the classroom, and it gets the kids to know each other and us to get to know the kids. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.